So Steve, there's a lot of fearful things, fearful thoughts happening in the world. There's a lot of encouragement out there for us to feel afraid. I mean, what have you got to say about that? Should we be afraid? Do we need to be afraid?
I think the greater flow in the world is towards staying fearful. Through the media, through culture seems to have a sort of very strong fear, protection, be safe, watch out. You know, if somebody's been injured or even killed, the media then portrays it out there. So there's great ripples of fear. I don't know if I wasn't sure if the media were consciously doing it, but I asked a journalist friend of mine. She said absolutely they're conscious. They know that blood sells newspapers, so of course they do that. Now there was a recently unfortunate thing that happened in London. 2 people, young students, were murdered. Now that rippled out as far as Italy, with my in-laws phoned me up and started to hammer me, saying you can't let your stepson out by himself, and we just felt this fear just rippled even out through Europe. You know, this incident, and of course in reality there are good things happening and there are painful things, but we just get bombarded all the time by these painful things. So we're encouraged to be afraid all the time, not to take the step, not to do anything different, stay safe. But by staying safe in this fear zone, it's a bit like that Reginald Perring thing in the 70s or 80s, I think it was shown. Do you remember that? It was a TV programme of a guy that just kept repeating his life over and over the same way, catch the same train, go to work from the same route, see the same people, same conversations, until he went mad and faked his own suicide. And he had to completely break out of all that. And some people are like that. Fear will keep you locked into a pattern of being safe, where your life might seem secure, but it will be incredibly dull. Incredibly dull. Now what we're talking about here is more like the hero's journey. We're saying you need courage to move out from these things which are keeping you locked in fear, to enter into this wilderness zone where all the heroes of time have gone. Every hero of journey. You mentioned Odysseus earlier, but everyone has gone there. And in this zone you're tested. Your courage your resourcefulness will be tested. And this is fantastic because you're going to be a different person than the one before when you started the journey. So in witchcraft they say where there's fear there's power. So I always recommend in coaching to people to turn and face their fears, because when they turn and face them and walk through them, that fear usually turns into another energy. Fear and excitement is very close in the body. You know, a lot of actors or performers know this. And I was speaking to an actor friend yesterday. He said he's a performance coach, presentation coach. And he reminded me of this. I'd heard it before. He said, we never teach people to stop being afraid when they're going to perform or to speak or to act. Everybody has butterflies, but all we do is get the butterflies to fly in formation. It was great. When he said that, I thought that's fantastic. You know, why not get all this energy just to fly in formation? So whenever I'm performing in any way or about to do something, I went to Italy recently and did a workshop there. 100 people turned up. It was completely out of my zone. I didn't know these people, the language. I had translators, and I was really worried and nervous. I had to walk around this garden about 20 times before it calmed down. I got my butterflies flying in formation. I went in there, delivered this incredible evening. I was really high afterwards. The energy was incredible. So sometimes fear can be turned into an incredible force of change. So I encourage people who are feeling afraid, for whatever reason, redundancy, end of relationship, to step through that fear, because that fear can be a guide. You know, of course we don't want you to step out in front of a speeding train. It's the flight or fight. The body has its own wisdom. We're not talking about that. But to face the fears of the mind, because the mind will start to go crazy whenever you start to enter this wilderness zone. What if I can't pay the mortgage? What if my lover leaves me? All this. What if my children hate me? This is the natural state of that sort of crazy mind. Face it, walk through it. Fear will change, and once you've done it, you'll be a different person at the end of the process. Absolutely guaranteed. And in my life, very powerful transition points where I've done some trainings which have helped me step through it. It's been the most powerful thing that I would never forget. And so I recommend people to come on our little workshop, Powerful Transitions. If you're at the stage where life is, you're at a crossroads, something is looming, something may be ending, this is the perfect time to do something about that.